You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, back with another video. We got the latest rumors and news, lots to get into, including another person weighing in on the quarterback competition. At least this person plays on the Chicago Bears. As much as I love hearing from Doc Rivers, Ted Ginn is a more valuable opinion here. And hey, he hopped on NFL Network and said, I believe Trubisky is going to be the guy. So that is certainly interesting. Obviously, we know Nick Foles was brought in to compete with Trubisky. I still think Foles will end up being the starter, but the more and more you hear people talk about it, maybe it will be Mitchell Trubisky. Here's more from Ted Ginn saying, right now I believe Trubisky will be our starter. We are going to fight for him. I'm willing to fight for whoever it is. I'm going to play for whoever it is. Now, keep in mind, this is like an 8 or 9 minute interview he did with NFL Network. Talked about Foles as well, how he believes in him also. But I think where he's coming from is like, hey, this has been Trubisky's team the past couple of years. Why would that change? And hey, Ted Ginn's at a competition of his own at wide receiver 3. Going to have to compete with guys like Riley Ridley, Javon Wims, Cordero Patterson. So all these pieces are going to have to come together for whoever the quarterback is, regardless of if it's Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles. Their track records say, hey, like, it could go either way, right? Nick Foles, when he's expected to be a full-time starter, doesn't play that well. When he's a backup and then is forced into action, he ends up being a Super Bowl MVP. So we don't really know what the quarterback situation is going to look like until we get into training camp, because that's the key here. Regardless of what Ted Ginn or anybody else says, the competition is not started. The Bears coaches maintain it will not start until they get on the practice field. And until that happens, it is all just speculation at this point. So a little bit of a different spin. Who do you guys think will be the week 1 starter? Type F for Nick Foles, type T for Mitchell Trubisky, because I could see a scenario where Mitch gets the first crack and starts week 1. I'll make this the pinned comment, so go ahead, scroll on down there and cast your votes. We got Bears 4th of July t-shirts on sale at chatsports.com/Bears4th. Hey, Fanatics thinks that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the starter. I scrolled throughout the whole website. I don't see any Nick Foles Stars and Stripes jerseys there available. So I'm just saying they got the inside scoop. But if you like this shirt or some just general 4th of July Chicago Bears gear, we got this shirt in short sleeve, long sleeve. All these combinations are available, both short and long sleeve. We got women's t-shirts as well, the V-neck style there if you want to get something for your wife. Chatsports.com/Bears4th. Chatsports.com/Bears4th. I'll put that link in the comments and in the description. How about a Robertson-Harris extension? This is an interesting idea FanSided put together. The Bears obviously tendered him this offseason. No one was willing to give Chicago a second-round pick for him, which isn't surprising. He's been kind of a depth rotation player since being a UDFA a few years ago, set to earn just over $3 million this year before hitting unrestricted free agency next off-season. I like Robertson-Harris. I would like to see him get more snaps, and I like this idea of extending him as well because he hasn't made a lot of money in his career, so maybe you offer him some kind of a contract to keep him long-term for maybe a cheaper number than what it would be if he has a big season this year. I think he's been a solid rotation player. I had him on our breakout candidates video. I think he has a chance to maybe be a 4 or 5 sack guy this year alone. He's been a 2 or 3 sack guy, and as a part-time type of player, I think this could be a year he takes that next step. I think he can take some snaps away from Nichols on that defensive line. He's kind of been that 4th defensive lineman rotating in there with Akeem Hicks, Goldman, and Nichols taking the majority of the snaps. But I think you could see him take a step forward and be that guy. This was FanSide's proposed contract offer, 3 years, $13 million. Just over 4 per year, obviously $6 million guaranteed. If you can secure him at that number, 3-year extension starting next year, that's pretty good value for a decent rotation player that gives you some pass rush help and is pretty good against the run as well. You've already gotten excellent value out of him considering he was a UDFA and is a legitimate piece on this defense. You can secure him long term for a low cap hit. That is certainly a win-win situation for the Chicago Bears. What do you guys think? Should the Bears extend Roy Robertson-Harris? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know down in the comments section. The Justin Fields rumors will not go away. These continue to swirl the internet. I see it on Twitter all over the place. I see it on Instagram that, hey, the Bears are going to end up drafting Justin Fields. And look, it's twofold. One, if they draft Justin Fields, that probably means this season did not go well because he's probably going to go in the top 5. But on the flip side of this, I don't think the Bears have the long-term answer at quarterback on their roster. Look, we can break down Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky until the cows come home, but do any of us believe either of these guys is the long-term answer? Trubisky has a better chance to be that guy. Nick Foles at this point is a stopgap. We know that. He's in his 30s. Maybe Trubisky, takes off this year, but I don't have a ton of faith that that's going to be the case. I do have a pretty good amount of faith that Justin Fields is going to be a good NFL quarterback, and if that's the case, if he has another season similar to what he did last year at Ohio State, he's going to be a top 5 pick and maybe even challenge for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft with the likes of Trevor Lawrence. I like Justin Fields. I'll say this, though. Ryan Pace cannot afford to tank a season. He cannot afford the Bears to be a 3-13, a 4-12, 5-11 type of team. If that happens, he's probably out of a job. So, obviously, NFL teams don't actively tank. This isn't the NBA, so I don't expect that to happen. But if the season goes south and the Bears end up with a premium pick, drafting Justin Fields would certainly be a good option. Now, Fields and Lawrence and the rising Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, keep an eye on that name, continue to, dominate the headlines for quarterbacks for next year's draft class. Pick a quarterback. If you want Trevor Lawrence, type 1. If you want Justin Fields, type 2. If you think Trey Lance is the guy, type 3. If you don't know much about Lance, I encourage you to look him up. 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions this past season at North Dakota State. So, no respect for Eddie Jackson, at least according to CBS Sports. They're doing kind of a series of top 10 players at every position, and Eddie Jackson apparently is not a top 10 safety in the NFL, which I firmly disagree with, by the way. Here's the list from CBS Sports: Tyrann Mathieu, Micah Fitzpatrick, Jamal Adams. Okay, those are pretty big names. Harrison Smith, Anthony Harris. I think you get into that range. That's where Eddie Jackson belongs. I think he's a fringe top 5 guy. Justin Simmons, Devin McCourty, good players. I think Eddie Jackson's better than Derwin James. I think is too low, by the way. I think he's a top 5-ish guy. Kevin Byard, and then Earl Thomas as well. Thomas still good, not what he was a few years ago though in Seattle. Eddie Jackson not cracking the top 10. I don't know. More on this story in a minute. But first, want to remind you guys, mailbag coming very, very soon. Use hashtag Bears to get your questions on the show. You ask me whatever question you want, Bears related or otherwise. I will pick the best ones, and we will record a video just for you guys. So use hashtag Bears and ask me your questions down in the comment section. Eddie Jackson, look, last year he wasn't quite as good as what he was in 2018, but in 3 seasons he's got 10 picks, including an all-pro year in 2018 when he had 6 picks and 15 pass breakups. This guy is one of the best safeties in the NFL. I think it's that stigma of, he was a 4th-round pick in 2017, and he's still young. So, the production is what it is. He's been really, really good. There's a reason the Bears made him the highest paid safety in the National Football League. Now, I'm not saying if you're the highest paid, you're necessarily the best. I think Tyrann Mathieu's a more proven commodity than Eddie Jackson. I'd probably rather have him, but it's close. This is good company that Eddie Jackson is in. He belongs to be in the top 10 safeties in the NFL. If not top 5, like I said. You could argue maybe he's 6th, maybe he's 7th, maybe some of those other guys are better, but not top 10? I don't know about that. Eddie Jackson is a top 10 safety. If it's true, type T. If it's false, type F. I think it's absolutely true. If I don't see a bunch of T's in the comment section, I don't really know what you Bears fans are watching. Let's talk about the offensive line. You guys are always asking me to talk about the O-line, whether or not they can improve this year. Well, how about Germain Ifedi starting at right guard? I think this is a possibility. Played primarily tackle in Seattle. Talked about joining the Bears recently and a couple of other topics as well. Look, someone has to take that right guard spot with Kyle Long retiring due to injuries. Maybe it's Germain Ifedi. I hope it's not. As producer Brett surprises me here, I hope it's not Rashaad Coward, but we'll talk about that more in a second. Apparently, grade my haircut, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section. I don't know. What do you think, Brett? B plus, solid, not an A. I'd never give myself an A when it comes to my haircut and my grooming capabilities. I'll give myself a solid B plus, but weigh in down below. More on this though. Here's Ifedi the other day. I've always considered myself kind of an inside guy, a road grader type, but I've always accepted the challenge that came with playing tackle also. So it's just whichever one is a need, whichever one is needed at the time. It's no issue doing either one. And that's the one thing he offers, right? Is versatility. Look, he's been a bust as a first-round talent. Now, he's been healthy and he's been able to play. Not a great right tackle, though, for Seattle. There's a reason they let him go. He's one of two things. He's either going to start at right guard or he's your swing tackle this year. I'm not sure which it'll be. I hope that he can take that right guard spot because that means he's an upgrade from Rashaad Coward, who is not very good at all, as we saw last season, but we will just have to wait and see. He's got some talent, some upside as a first-round pick. We just haven't seen it yet in his NFL career. Who do you guys think will be the starting right guard? If you think it's Ifedi, type I. If you think it's Coward, type C. I'm going to speak it into existence. Give me Germain Ifedi, although kind of like the quarterback situation, the guy who's been on the roster longer might get the first crack, and that is Rashaad Coward. Quick reminder of our deal of the day here on Chicago Bears Now. We got 4th of July gear. Go to chatsports.com/Bears4th. You can get this t-shirt in long sleeve. You can get it in short sleeve. Same with this one. It's not just the ones we're showing you on screen. We have lots of different styles available. chatsports.com/Bears4th. Check the comments. Check the description. The link will be in there for you guys. Quick little story to wrap things up here. Let's talk about the UDFA, Artavis Pierce. We continue to wait, and the Bears aren't signing a veteran running back, and I don't think they're going to at this point unless they get an injury in training camp or they don't trust Pierce. I think he's making this football team. Look at the depth chart, guys. There's snaps available behind Montgomery and Cohen, and I've said this a lot. Cohen's not a guy that takes a lot of carries. Maybe 5 to 7 a game. Montgomery, while I think he's going to be a big player in this offense, are the Bears going to give it to him 25 times a game? Maybe, but let's say that number's more like 18 to 20. There's 5 to 10 carries available out there, and that might be Artavis Pierce. Now, Ryan Nall is a fan favorite. He's a preseason legend, but there's a reason he only played in only got 2 carries last year. Like, Artavis Pierce has a chance to make this football team. The UDFA out of Oregon State, they also added Napoleon Maxwell. I think Pierce has the advantage, though. 6 yards a carry this past year in Corvallis. I like what I've seen from him, in the the limited highlights and stuff that I've seen. Watched a couple of Oregon State's games last year. Has some burst. Ran a 4.45 at his pro day. I think he's got a real shot to make this roster and to even have a role on this team in 2020. We'll have to see once training camp, the preseason, the regular season rolls around over the next couple of months.